If you weren't looking closely at Valentine's eyes in that crucial scene where Anna was staring at what she thought was empty space, you completely missed the real story. Everyone is so incredibly focused on Anna supposedly losing her grip on reality, assuming she is just hallucinating the terrifying ghost of Peter. But if you rewind the footage and watch Valentine's subtle body language, the slight, almost mechanical shift in his posture, and the incredibly calculated deadpan expression he maintains while Anna is visibly spiraling into a panic attack, it changes absolutely everything about this narrative. He did not look confused or deeply concerned. He looked exactly like a man executing a flawless, premeditated performance. That tiny, almost imperceptible micro-expression on Valentine's face is the master key that unlocks a massive, dark conspiracy that the writers have been quietly building right under our noses. Lock the doors and gather around, guys, because the behind-the-scenes whispers I have been hearing lately are painting a picture so sinister, so deeply disturbing, that it will make your blood run absolutely cold. We have all been watching Anna struggle for weeks, watching her slowly unravel as she is tormented by these vivid, terrifying visions of Peter lurking in the shadows. The show desperately wants us to believe that her trauma has simply caught up with her, that her brilliant mind is finally fracturing under the crushing weight of her tragic past. But I have a completely different theory, a hush-hush rumor that has been circulating in the deepest, darkest corners of the studio lot, and it is going to blow your mind. What if I told you that the truth might be way more complicated than a simple psychological breakdown? The unconfirmed leak suggests that the Peter she keeps seeing is not a hallucination at all. He is not a ghost, he is not a spirit, and he is certainly not a figment of her fractured imagination. It seems like the entity haunting Anna is a living, breathing, flesh and blood human being who is actively masquerading as Peter to manipulate her every move. Just think about the sheer logistics of this drastic storyline shift, and what it would actually mean for the future of our favorite characters. Hi, chances are, someone with immense power and unlimited resources has gone to extraordinary lengths to find a physical match, someone who can perfectly mimic Peter's distinct gait, his menacing presence, and his unique ability to strike absolute terror into Anna's heart. This is not a supernatural haunting, this is a highly coordinated, meticulously planned psychological operation designed to break a legendary spy. And this is exactly where the behind-the-scenes whisper gets truly explosive and heartbreaking. If you have been paying attention to the long-standing rumors about a certain beloved fallen detective, you already know exactly where I am going with this. What if the man hiding behind the realistic silicone mask of Peter is none other than Nathan? I know, guys, it sounds absolutely insane at first glance, but stick with me because the puzzle pieces are starting to fit together in a way that is genuinely terrifying. If the long-standing rumors about Nathan still being alive are actually true, then we have to face a horrific, stomach-churning reality. He has not been a free man for the past 8 years. High chances are, Nathan has been the ultimate victim of a deeply entrenched, highly classified shadow organization. We are talking about an honorable man who was violently ripped away from his loving family, completely stripped of his true identity, and subjected to unimaginable psychological and physical torture. What if he was systematically brainwashed? What if his original memories were brutally suppressed or entirely replaced through advanced, illegal memory implantation techniques, turning the sweet detective we all loved into a hollowed-out puppet, entirely devoid of his true self? This unconfirmed leak connects directly to a sprawling, dangerous web of mysterious figures that have been haunting the canvas for decades. Think about the dark, twisted legacy of Caesar. Think about the lingering, venomous shadows of Victor, the recent global chaos caused by Ross, and the perplexing, secretive presence of Cassius. Almost all of these names share a direct or indirect link to the twisted, highly experimental legacy left behind by Caesar. If Caesar was once the absolute mastermind behind numerous clandestine behavioral modification experiments, it seems like Nathan would be the absolute perfect test subject for his successors. After his supposed tragic death, his vulnerable body could have been quietly intercepted from the morgue, making him the ultimate blank slate for a syndicate obsessed with total mind control and human manipulation. The truth might be way more complicated when we start asking the most important question: who is actually holding the leash? Who is controlling this tragic, brainwashed version of Nathan and forcing him to commit these psychological atrocities? One chilling possibility is that the WSB is still secretly operating its dark, off-the-books brainwashing programs in hidden black sites. We all know the intelligence agency has a deeply corrupt, blood-soaked history, and it seems like they could be using Nathan as a covert, untraceable operative, deploying him to destabilize key, powerful figures like Anna, who pose a threat to their global operation. If the WSB is behind this, Nathan is nothing more than government property, a weaponized ghost deployed to drive their enemies to the brink of total insanity. But what if the reality of the situation is even darker and more personal? What if the real Peter is actually still alive, pulling the strings from an undisclosed, heavily fortified location? Hi, chances are, Peter survived his supposed demise and is now using a mind-controlled Nathan as a physical proxy. By forcing Nathan to wear his face and terrorize Anna from the shadows, Peter ensures that his own hands remain perfectly clean while he inflicts maximum emotional damage on the woman he despises. It seems like the ultimate form of sadistic revenge, making Anna lose her mind by using the body of a man she once deeply cared for and respected, turning a symbol of justice into an instrument of pure, unadulterated terror. However, my deepest, most unsettling suspicions do not lie with the corrupt WSB or even a miraculously resurrected Peter. The person who makes me the most suspicious, the one whose recent actions scream of hidden agendas, calculated deception, and master manipulation, is Valentine. It is far too convenient, far too perfectly coincidental, that this fake Peter always seems to manifest exactly when Valentine is in the room or heavily involved in Anna's immediate orbit. The show desperately wants us to believe that Anna is the only one who can see this terrifying apparition, leading her to the devastating, heartbreaking conclusion that she is completely losing her mind. But I am not buying that narrative for a single second. I firmly believe that Valentine can see this Peter just as clearly as Anna can. It seems like Valentine is actively, maliciously pretending not to see anything out of the ordinary when the imposter steps into the room. Picture the devastating scene. Anna is wide-eyed, trembling uncontrollably, staring at what she believes is the vengeful ghost of her greatest tormentor. And Valentine is right beside her, flawlessly playing the role of the concerned, grounded, protective lover. High chances are Valentine is the one who orchestrated this entire theatrical nightmare from the very beginning. By looking right through the imposter and acting as though Anna is staring at thin air, he is executing the absolute ultimate form of psychological gaslighting. He wants her to severely doubt her own sanity. He needs her to feel entirely dependent on him, isolated and trapped in her own perceived madness. Why would Valentine do something so unspeakably cruel, so deeply unforgivable, to the brilliant woman he vehemently claims to love? The truth might be way more complicated than mere cruelty. It is entirely about desperate self-preservation. Valentine is currently drowning in a terrifying ocean of secrets. He is deeply, dangerously entangled with the catastrophic cold fusion mess. His treasonous connections to Ross are highly precarious, and the looming threat of Cassius being fully exposed to the authorities is a massive, uncontrollable liability. What if Valentine realized that Anna was getting far too close to uncovering the absolute truth? Anna is a legendary, unparalleled spy. Her investigative instincts are unmatched. The only conceivable way to stop her from investigating Cassius and unearthing Valentine's own dark, treasonous secrets is to completely and utterly shatter her confidence in her own brilliant mind. If this unconfirmed leak turns out to be the actual terrifying direction of the narrative, it means that every single time Peter has appeared, it was never a supernatural event or a trauma response. It was a highly sophisticated, deeply sinister psychological warfare campaign designed to break a legend. Valentine is essentially directing a live-action, psychological horror movie with Anna as the unwitting, traumatized star and a heavily brainwashed Nathan as the tragic monster. It seems like Valentine is forcefully feeding Anna this delusion, step by agonizing step, ensuring she is so entirely consumed by her own internal mental chaos that she completely stops asking the right questions about the massive external threats surrounding them. Just imagine the sheer emotional devastation and the explosive fallout if this is exactly how the story unfolds on our screens. For over 8 long years, devoted fans have prayed for Nathan to somehow return, hoping for a beautiful, tear-jerking, romantic reunion with his grieving loved ones. But if the writers go down this exceptionally dark, twisted path, his highly anticipated return will not be a moment of joyous celebration. It will be one of the most shocking, heartbreaking, and controversial twists in the show's entire history. Nathan would not be returning as a triumphant hero. He would be revealed as a tragic, broken victim of a decades-long mind control program, a hollow pawn mindlessly executing devastating orders in Valentine's sick, twisted game of survival. The truth might be way more complicated than any of us are truly prepared for right now. We are looking at a masterfully woven story that intertwines the tragic, stolen fate of Nathan, the manipulative, sociopathic genius of Valentine, the corrupt, boundless depths of the WSB, and the enduring, highly toxic legacy of Cassius and Caesar. It seems like the writers are meticulously, quietly laying the groundwork for a massive reveal that will leave the entire audience completely speechless. Anna is not losing her mind, guys. She is being actively hunted, ruthlessly manipulated, and systematically broken by a flesh and blood conspiracy that is operating right inside the walls of her own home. If she doesn't wake up and see through Valentine's elaborate web of lies very soon, she might never escape the psychological trap he has so perfectly built for her. Be extremely careful who you trust, because the next time a ghost mysteriously appears in the dark corners of Port Charles, you might just find a racing pulse. And a loaded gun pointed right at your head.